President Donald Trump has fast-tracked the reclassification of marijuana from a Schedule I drug to a Schedule III substance.
Yeah, big deal, not just for cannabis users, but also the industries that have been built up around it. And today, we have joining us an expert. Shannon Donnelly is a professor in the School of Hospitality at MSU Denver, but also you have a lot of experience in the world of cannabis in Colorado from having owned a business and having done regulation work. Thank you, Shannon, for being here. This is a big deal, right? And we're talking medical marijuana, not recreational.
Correct. Yes, we're talking about medical marijuana, and it is revolutionary here in the United States.
And what is President Trump's executive order says? What exactly? What does it mean to move from a Schedule I to Schedule III?
Yeah, so what it means is that the federal government is actually saying that there is medicinal value in the cannabis plant, which means that what we know here in Colorado, that there's a thriving medical industry, will now be a federally legal industry. It also opens the way for tax relief and research on the cannabis plant.
And this has a trickle-down effect. This isn't just going to affect the cannabis industry, right? I mean, we're talking hospitality, tourism, even food service. What kind of effects do you think you'll see, and how quickly?
So it's not going to be very quick. We still have to have many federal organizations make moves to actually make this happen. But in the next 2 years, we're going to see big impacts to seniors, also big impacts to pharmacies. Are they going to be actually able to sell cannabis products? And then also to our cannabis businesses who are going to get immense amount of tax relief because of this change to Schedule III.
Colorado is so far ahead on so much cannabis policy already. What do you think this looks like here, where a lot of stuff, we're kind of past this, right? Like, I mean, it's big, but is it big for us?
So it is big for Colorado still, because we have been federally illegal, whether we were medical or adult use. The idea that now the federal government says yes to medical marijuana is going to be big in Colorado. We may see a surge in new medical patients, which has had drops over the last 10 years. We also are going to see cannabis businesses that are going to have a lot more cash flow. So they may be more investing in their communities, into employees, as well as into their marketing and branding. So not just cannabis businesses, but some of the ancillary businesses will also be affected by this.
I wonder if then the price will drop, right? If they're getting tax credits, do you think they will then, share that with their customer base?
I do think that we're going to see a drop in products because businesses are making more money, so they have more margins to actually have lower prices. But we also are going to see probably a surge in traffic. We now have stigma going down. We have the federal government saying, hey, this is good for anyone, but specifically, this is going to be great for the senior population. So I think we're going to have a new group of individuals who are now entering dispensaries and now using these products for their benefit and the state's benefit.
Good point.
What about, I interviewed a professor at CU just a few weeks ago about cannabis research and what we're learning about potency. Again, I don't know how this translates between like recreational and medicinal, but what are we going to see happen now that like federally we're on the same page?
Yeah, so what's going to be really interesting around research is it's going to be so much easier to research this plant. Even though we've had medical marijuana in Colorado for over 2 decades, we only see a little bit of research coming out of here. But what we're actually going to see is even more at the federal level than we've even allowed in Colorado for medical research. Things like anxiety and depression and PTSD and cancer are going to be a huge focus on how medical marijuana can actually help and sometimes even solve these conditions. That's what we heard from the executive order yesterday in the conference.
Wow. That's huge. Thank you for the context, because I think you heard the headline and we're like, we're in Colorado. What does that have to do with us? But good information there. Thank you, Professor Donnelly. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.